I've been recording because I don't stop. My life is on record.
1 2 1 2 1 2. Welcome to it. Is
Actually,
the
Dan, I've got
DNP
a
boys
question.
back in business?
Wait, what? The DP boys? What?
The DP boys, the Danny and Phil boys. We back in business. Congratulations on the DP, the DNP. Because everyone
Let's
wants
clear this
a D and everybody wants a P.
Let's clear this up.
We have very unfortunate initials, Phil, now that I think about it.
How you feeling? I'm feeling.
Yeah. How you feeling? How you feeling? I'm super. Tryna get this money like a Gupta.
Like a
Moving funny,
Gupta.
I can see it right through ya. Paparazzi or police might shoot ya. How you feeling? How you feeling? I'm super. Got an S or a link on my spooper. Give an F, what you think is my moolah? When I ball, I'm only hitting spike cruiser. How you feeling? How you feeling? I'm super. I remember all I wanted was a Cooper. Now I'm in a coupe without a roof, huh? You wanna know if there's a card on the proof, huh? How you feeling? How you feeling? I'm super. Puffing on the herb and it's superb. Remember all I wanted was a Cooper. Now we in the coupe without a roof, sir. Issue. How are you? How are you? How are you? How are you? How you feeling? How you feeling? I'm super. How you feeling? 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 I'm super. How you doing? How you
Why is he
doing?
shouting
How
out
you
my
doing?
boss?
How you doing? How you feeling? How you feeling? I'm
You should play it for him.
super. How are you? How are you? How you feeling?
Also, he spells it like super. Dad, I've got the funniest idea.
Mm.
What if I phone Pretty and I tell her to make a dub plate for super? Like, what can we get? Like, what can we love?
Phil? He'll give you a thank you. You'll say, that's good, well done, and then that will be it. You might get a firm handshake. That's if he knows who Pretty is, but if not, Apanadi. Pakaipa man. Phil, there's a lot to talk about. I'm not here. We are not here to play. There's no jokes here. We are serious about this podcasting today. I was forced to listen to another podcast. I'm gonna play it for you in a little bit, and it taught me the importance of being serious about podcasting. So, Phil, I gotta ask you and the listeners, the ops and the lovers, are y'all
Good to go.
I said, are y'all
Good to go.
Sound a big thing now.
Get mad now.
Let me hear a drum play.
Welcome one more again to another episode of your favorite podcast. This be none other than Two Broke Twimbos. My name is Danny That Guy, aka Danos the Mad Titan, aka Denford Wegumaraini, aka Denimbi, my life, your entertainment, aka I don't want to pay that much more attention to America, but every week, jeez Louise, you guys, aka Akuna Mumindi Danmu.
That's right. He's here on only the unmistakable, the irrefutable, the living La Vida Loca Bill, full Jara gave Lim Floss, the big boss, we gave Pizza P, Sexting to Love, Filthy Phil, and of course, Shamani Dingero Drink. Hi guys, welcome back. How you doing? You good? I'm super. I'm feeling super. I'm right.
Feeling super. Nah, I'm doing good. The missus is back. I feel like I'm whole again. Home is now feeling like there's somebody here. It's great. More importantly than that, she brought some toys and some trinkets. Trinkets.
What?
I'm on that new iPhone 17, Phil.
Oh, wait, you got you the iPhone 17?
Yeah. Word. And, you know, I'm in the middle of setting it up, you know, copying across all the files and settings. So far, so good. It's feeling good. It's feeling nice. Very well, guys. Very well. That's what I can tell you. But shout out to Madam. So, you know what? Give me a week with it, and then I'll give you my real life reviews of it next week.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's not what we're
Which
here
one?
for.
Did you get the regular, the Pro Max?
The regular, just the regular.
Mm.
Just the regular 17. A black, which is not really black. It's more like smoke. But I mean, I won't lie. It feels nice. It looks nice. But I'm moving from a 13. So that's a huge jump.
Mm-hmm.
From 13 to 17. So, it feels, there's a lot of things that I'm seeing here, like ProMotion. What? Y'all been having 120 hertz screens? What? Yo, this is smooth as butter. But yeah, next week, ask me to give you a review, and I'll let you know what I genuinely think about buying the iPhone 70. But all the reviewers say, like, don't go for the Pro Max unless like you have some edge use case scenarios. Just buy the regular 17, which is great because it's like half the price. So yeah. So next week I'll give you all a proper review. But that's not what we're here for, Phil. It's not what. Okay.
No, it's not.
Before we continue, Phil, I just wanted to, because this is not part of the podcast itself, but I just thought I would bring it up very quickly. And I'm bringing it up just to just before we started recording. My boy Ethan, youngster, Ethan's he's my youngster. He gives me a call. It's like, yo, they talking about you on this podcast. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? It's like, no, they talk about you on this podcast. And he tells me about this podcast. So I was like, all right, let me go hear what they're saying. And I found it funny. So I'm gonna play the clip that I am referenced, Phil, and I want to hear what you think. Okay, so this is apparently a podcast called the Cass and Snow podcast or something. So take a listen to this.
Pause one.
I saw there's that is it Power FM guy? The light skinned guy, but the Agarora a colored lady from South Africa.
Power FM guy.
Is it Power FM? No.
You listen to the
ZFM.
radio.
No. ZFM guy the guy who always like talks about facts and technology and shit. It's like
Yeah, you talk about facts and technology.
Danny, what's his full name?
Danny used to have a podcast with Kandora, right?
Yes.
It was someone else.
Colored guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
He had the kids
Danny the guy.
and stuff.
Danny the guy.
Yeah. So the girl is
Nah, he makes good video. We're not hating Danny. Shut up.
anyway, the girl was like, he's from Joburg, but she's colored. So ngashitarani, yo, cultural differences, blah blah blah.
Mixed race. This show is international.
She's colored. Wait. She's Tyler.
So
What is the name of this podcast? Jesus,
it's called the Cass and Snow podcast.
Oh, I think I've seen. I think I've seen something about them somewhere.
I listened to some. You know what? If you guys, I'm gonna give y'all a free piece of advice, right? I don't know if this is gonna come across their radar.
They don't listen to the podcast. Then
They
because
clearly
think I'm
don't.
Gandoro.
But in case it reaches them the same way that this one reached me, shout out to Ethan. Don't worry about looking or sounding cool. Just get that out of your head. Just don't do that. Just speak authentically. Because every time you do that on this pod, then it gets interesting. But this whole segment of trying to make sure that you look and sound cool, it doesn't translate. But anyway, so literally just before
What's their name again? Sorry, because I was looking. I couldn't find him.
Cass and K-A-S and Snow. So
Kaz.
yeah. So literally just before you joined the room here, I was just listening to this and then I called Taz over to like, listen, they're talking about you on this podcast. Take a listen. Then she got upset because she was like, so what do they want to say about this colored girl? Because they then went on a tangent. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with y'all because that just came across my radar. But getting back to this pod.
As a light-skinned man.
You see, you guys don't appreciate what y'all got. You know what I'm saying? Wait till you're just left with all these other podcasts. No shade, Cass and Snow. You know what? We're 400 and something episodes deep, so you know. Shout Shout out to y'all.
Yeah, you know.
Let's start off with celebrating some Zimbabweans doing big things. First of all, huge shout out to Zimbabwean author No Violet Bulawayo, who we've mentioned on this segment before. She has won the Best of Cane Award. Now, the Cane Prize is a prize that's given yearly for authors. She won it back in 2011 with her short story Hitting Budapest. So they were looking back at all the Cane Awards that they'd given, and they were like, "Nah, this is the best of the best." So shout out No Violet,
the sugar cane, if you will.
Shout out No Violet Bulawayo, who's also got some other novels like We Need New Names and Glory, etc., etc. Go check out her stuff.
She's been killing it for it. In fact, we might honor her in our book club. With our next
No,
read,
Phil, the book club is...
actually, you joined the book club and you've been very quiet.
Yeah, you guys are halfway through, like...
No, we're finishing now. I finished the book.
You're on book 2 of a series or something. So I was like, no, it's cool. You know, I won't put pressure on myself. I'll just follow along with y'all and then I'll catch up. But anyway, big up No Violet Bulawayo, and don't put her in the book club because that book club is for trash reading, Phil. We said that was the whole plan from the get-go, right?
No, we're just reading what people want to read. Well, I'm posing it because this first book was Chris's choice. Then we're going to randomly pick another person who's going to pick our next book. So it could be anything. It could be trash. It could be a manifesto. Who knows?
Mein Kampf. Anyway, someone else to celebrate this week, Phil, the Zimbabwean cricket team. The Chevron. Okay, I don't know if they're still called the Chevrons if they're playing T20. Is that true? Are they still the Chevrons?
I think so. I don't know.
Anyway, I'm just going to say it and then someone can correct me if I'm wrong. The Chevrons were playing against Tanzania this week. And
Tanzania.
They thrashed them.
Walloped
Tanzania, which, I mean, they're not necessarily like a big name in cricket, but still it's good to have a win. A commanding 113-run victory over Tanzania in their T20. In 20 overs, victory by 113 runs. That's crazy. Star player was Brian Bennett, who hit a century. In fact, he got 111 from 60 balls. So a huge shout out to Brian Bennett and the Zimbabwean Chevrons for really putting that work on Tanzania. Now go home. I don't know if they're going to play another one, but I just thought I'd mention that. And then this past weekend was the send-off, Phil, for Miss Universe Zimbabwe. Lashanda Moyas. You know Lashanda, right?
The name
you might know her. I think you probably do know her because I know her from before. Yeah. Anyway, so she's Miss Universe Zimbabwe and she's going to represent Zimbabwe. So she had a big all white party that was held at Mbari Grills. Have you been to Mbari Grills yet, Phil?
Yes. Of course, that's my weekend spot. And you, Dan, have you been there?
I have not yet. I've been invited a couple of times and I have still not gone. It's just
why
it's in Mbari. You know, I need to go. I need to prepare myself, and I need to revert back to old me to get back there. But anyway, so this past weekend, she had a send-off event, an all-white event over at Mbari Grills as she prepares to head on out and represent Zimbabwe in Thailand for the Miss Universe pageant. So huge shout out to Lashanda Moyas doing her thing. I think she will do well. She seems to be carrying herself with poise and grace, as they say. There's also another Zimbabwean representative in beauty pageants. Well, we're the podcast for beauty pageants here. Nomcele Sisankomo, who is Zimbabwe's Miss Tourism Zimbabwe, is heading off to Malaysia, where she will be doing the Miss Tourism International pageant that's happening this week. So we'll get the results of that one sooner than we'll get Thailand. The Miss Universe Zimbabwe is going to be a while. There's a whole camp in Chichichi. Yeah, so she's leaving later this month. And then I believe Kunana November, Ikoko is when we'll have the finals. I think, but I didn't see the dates. But anyway, shout out to the 2 beauty queens going to represent Zimbabwe in their various pageants. The next update you'll probably hear is about a Miss Universe. I wonder if we should call her. Nice. Nah, that would be a boring conversation. I mean, like, oh, you're going to represent Zim. That's cool.
No, let's do it.
Anyway,
I had an idea, but you see, I was exercising restraint. Dan, yeah. I've learned to stop interrupting you, and also after a little troll earlier this week in the group, I've decided to change my ways on the microphone.
I want to remind you that you started it. You started it.
You, sir, are a bastard. One.
You started it.
But 2, I think, Dan, we should go on a little podcast tour again. Let's go on the Cass and Snow podcast. Let's do a takeover.
Down. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. If they call us, I'm down. The only thing is time, obviously, but we'll go. We'll go and take over the podcast and show them how it's done and all that.
Remember that podcast that we did when we went and we took over, and we felt so bad like halfway through.
I didn't feel bad.
Have you been following the musings of those podcast hosts recently?
Was it the ladies or which one?
I'm trying. Okay, no, there's a podcast we went to. We had to go. They had a co-working space with a studio.
Yeah.
And we took over that episode. Yeah, those guys. Yeah, there's one guy. Like some of the things he's been tweeting about. Like he's really hardcore Team Drake, and I've been like, yo, my man's.
Yeah, I remember. I know who you're talking about.
And I was like, for a while I thought he was trolling. Then I was like, yo, every comment I would like see on X.
Yeah,
because like X like will the people you follow
just call it Twitter.
Automatically
it's confusing.
Yeah, on Twitter, the people you follow automatically become the top comment.
Yeah.
And I'd always see him under post, and I'm like, what is going on?
Brother, it's over a year ago. Like chill, bro. Chill.
I think he's knee deep in the forums and everything. I think like when they have their team meetings about what propaganda they're spreading this week, he's there. He's like, I don't worry, guys, I've got the Zim angle covered. I'm the president of the Zim territory.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we'll get into stan culture in a little bit. Later. In fact, we may as well get into it now.
You see, segues. It's all about segues.
Well done, Phil. Look, if you happen to open your Twitter this week, you may have been, I was about to say inundated, but I think the correct word is bludgeoned.
Accosted.
You properly karabad by, my dad used to say that, Zawkaraba. What seems to be an ongoing feud between Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, and then there was JT on the side there, and then Saweetie was involved at some point, and Ice Spice, and I don't know.
This took me back to wrestling. Like in wrestling when the Royal Rumble was popping off, and everyone was just going at everyone.
So Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, it's no secret that the two of them are not very fond of one another. They are, depending on where you look on the internet, there'll be various reasons given for what the source of all these problems are. But I think given someone's history, long story short, Nicki Minaj doesn't really play well with other women for various reasons. And it's not like Cardi B herself is some bastion of virtue, some excellent, well-mannered.
I've got an idea.
Yes.
Listen. So
let's start a band.
We get a spaceship, right? And then like we take the spaceship and then we go underwater, right? And then we make an album underwater. And we call it Spaceship Coast to Coast. What do you think? Come on, think about it. Spaceship Coast to Coast. Yeah. Oh man. Woo!
So what you would have seen this week is both of them, without atting each other, just thoroughly insulting each other. I've tried to look where it started. Right, I'm trying to look where it started. So
I know it started.
The earliest thing I have here is 2017, when apparently
no, it was before that. It was before 2017.
What happened? Well, okay, in 2017, apparently Nicki Minaj liked an Instagram comment from some fan that was making fun of Cardi B's rapping style. And that was like the first, or at least the earliest that I could find, if there's something earlier.
I think, no, it was before that, because Motorsport came out before that. It was watch your man, better yet, watch your mouth. This is pressed.
But Motorsport was 2017. But so early 2017 is when this happened. Then apparently there was a Nicki Minaj bar where she says, I heard these labels trying to make another me. That was on the song No Flag. Then on Motorsport, that had both Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, they didn't appear in the video together, even though they were both on the song. And people were like, well, it's because they beefing. And the story afterwards came out that they refused to be.
And Nicki was rapping about Offset trying to nyenga Cardi on a song with Cardi. It was wild. Also, Offset is a messy bastard. Yo.
Anyway, apparently there was like a physical altercation back in 2018, and then they had some level of truce of some kind, and then it's just been like jabs, and then it's almost like a Cold War, Phil. No outright diss tracks, but just subliminals. But this week, it completely blew up because Cardi B dropped her new album, right? And then it was just It's first started insulting each other, then insulting their each other's children. I'm not even going to read what the tweets are. Some of the stuff is bad.
I think
some of it is,
I would like to say
objectively, like if it wasn't about kids, it would be kind of funny.
You know what? I've got to say, joking on children is not hilarious. Calling children outside of their names, calling them roaches and rats and all that it's abysmal. It's disgusting and deplorable, and I, for one, do not stand for it. However, saying someone's child's favorite color is 5.
And it follows some hilarious comment about banging on spoons. It's not funny. It's actually not funny. So I remember trying to explain this to Taz. I know objectively it's not funny, but there's something about kids making insults or adults insulting kids that's so wrong. It just makes me laugh uncontrollably. And it's so bad. It's so bad. And I'm talking about like babies. And it's so bad. And it's I don't know what it is. It's wrong, but it's so funny, man. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But yeah, so I asked on my Twitter, like, yo, what kind of rap beef is this? We're not even going to get into, both of them be, substance abusers, or they both are shady or whatever. What I want to talk about is rap beef has existed since rap was mainstream and even before that, right?
But this is not rap beef. This is beef.
But you're both rappers and it's beef. Make it rap beef.
No, Dad. Sometimes my hate for this person is not going to be contained in the song. I'm finding, as Cardi said, as we record this, Cardi said she knows the address. She said, I found the location. I'm coming to you.
And the problem is we know that Cardi is not bluffing because, there's history.
So, yeah, I don't even think you can go back to rap beef after this. This is straight in Jabanja. It's bigger than rap. A baby's involved.
The obvious next sort of stage of this discussion is the insane stan culture, which we've talked about a little bit on this podcast, but allow me to pontificate once again. I obviously understand being a fan of someone. I understand being a huge fan of someone. I will never understand making your entire personality being a fan of someone. If you create a stan account, I automatically look down on you. I'm sorry. It's just, unless you're somehow in the posse or you're somehow in the, you create a stan account, Bob updates, party gang updates, whatever it is. Unless you're telling me you're making it as a pure business decision and you're realizing that there's a lot of conversation about this, I can collate all the information, put it on one, and I can grow a following. Okay, if you're making it as a pure business decision, completely understand. But from a stan perspective, what's wrong with y'all, man? That's a person who makes good music, according to you. That's all. They're also just a flawed individual. They're a normal human being, probably more flawed than you. They just happen to have a talent. Like, relax, yo. To make it worse, people are issuing death threats to each other, and it's even scary times. If you look at people trying to tweet about the situation, they're using asterisks and euphemisms and whatever to try and cover up the names, because if you actually name these people, their stands are going to come with death threats in your comments and stuff. Like, what's wrong with y'all, man? Can you all relax? Damn. take a breather, touch some grass.
No.
Tell us that you like your favorite artist and you like their music. All good.
No.
You ain't got to start. And the problem is, especially Nicki, but I think Cardi to a certain extent does it as well, that like they instigate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're deliberate about it. Like, what's wrong with y'all, man? Also, if I was Nicki Minaj, and
and I can see it, you know, like when I squint, I can see because you both light skinned. You both have the same mannerisms.
Unfortunately, I don't have the same structure. But if I were Nicki Minaj,
hold on. No, but that can be fixed. That can be fixed.
Light work.
That can be fixed in Turkey in 2 weeks.
Turkey. We got them here in Zim, Phil.
Just say to freedom. Say to freedom. Let me close my eyes and see.
I will
say
not.
to freedom.
What I was about to say is, if I were Nicki Minaj, knowing my current predicament regarding my marriage situation, my legal situation, the rumors about all kinds of things, I wouldn't feel so comfortable throwing stones from this glass house, is what I'm saying. Why would you want a topic of conversation to be a regular reminder about your family and your husband? Why? Why would you rather not just let people forget that for a minute? Because it's the only people who are overlooking that are your most ardent fans. Everyone else is like, oh yeah, by the way. You know what I mean?
Garage.
Her shady husband and the case, and obviously her brother and the case. Now all of that is top of mind once again, right? Front and center, because you really want to have this beef on Twitter of all places. Same with Cardi. Cardi, you also have, do you remember when Cardi went viral for telling a story about drugging men and robbing them?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I get it. You from the hood, you from the streets, you was a scripper, all of that. Completely get it. But like, you're now in the A-lists. Why do you want to like bring that back front and center once again? Just put it on wax, put it on songs, all right. Put it on music.
Dad, I think, once again, you are asking for sense from people who, sometimes half a bite short of a full picnic sandwich. You know what I'm saying? But on top of that, they hate each other. If you're really upset with someone and you're angry with someone and you've been dealing with years of back and forths and backbiting and information being shared and broken telephone and this, that, and the third, it's going to be difficult to say, let's see sense. When in your mind, you'll be like, it's on site. But you just haven't had the opportunity. So the only thing you can do is these weird back and forths and subliminals. So I get what you're saying, but I've also been on the other side of it. Granted, I had the immense benefit of not being rich or famous.
What do you mean? You had a whole back and forth, like a for real back and forth.
Dan, are you forgetting? Sometimes we used to have a lot of back and forths on Twitter. Sometimes I was even inheriting beefs that I had no business inheriting. And I can sympathize.
Okay, all right. That's okay. That's why you're defending it. I see. Okay.
No, I'm not defending it. I'm simply saying I can see where they're coming from. Yes, the right thing to do would be not to do this because it's outside of all the hotep, my black sisters, you know what I'm saying? We can't be fighting like this in public, all that stuff. Just put that to the side. It's a big blight on the genre that I love, the music that I love, the celebrities that have become so popular, that this is what represents the pinnacle of women in rap. You know what I mean? This is what represents the pinnacle of rap, because these are the two of the biggest rappers, period. And this is what's happening. And it's some people might draw very loose parallels to what happened between Drake and Kendrick, but there at least was a veil of artistic expression through the shots, which was, I'm saying all these horrible things, but I'm saying it to a rhythm and to a beat. So it's a song. It's not a series of tweets.
Yeah.
And
even then, Phil, it was like, it did eventually get personal, but it wasn't it wasn't outright insults at children. The children were mentioned or referenced, but the insults were not directed at them, if that makes sense.
And the other thing here is, Cardi just dropped her album. Cardi is a multi-million-dollar brand. So is Nicki Minaj. With every tweet, they are costing themselves hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, with every tweet.
Yep. Yep. Their teams are probably like, no.
But also at this point, I do have to ask, if someone's on their teams, why do they still have their phones?
Phil, these people have not surrounded themselves with strong people who will stand up to them.
So their teams aren't saying no, but especially Cardi, granted, she might not belong for the world in vis-a-vis Atlantic, since it's got a new head and so forth. So the record label might be like, cool, let her get all this free promo because,
That's
she's
streams
got
for
an
the album, yeah.
She's got an album called Am I the Drama? She's literally engaged in drama. This is very on brand, cool. If there's going to be any fallout, it's not going to be on our hands. We're going to just recoup our losses and do what we need to do. That may very well be going on. But outside of that, I don't get, like, if you have someone that really cares about you, like, okay, get all your shungus out on day one. Cool. Fam, we're now in day 3 of this. We're like, hip-hop reporters are looking like Anderson Cooper in Gaza Strip. It's like, it's day 3 of the Cardi versus Nicki. Oh, Mora just went off behind me. What did she say now?
Yeah. Anyway, look. Do you think it'll get physical for real?
At a certain point, it's gonna. Because keep in mind, remember there was a time it almost got physical with Offset and Mr. Petty, when Mr. Petty was waiting for Offset outside a building in New York.
I remember, yeah.
So
I mean, yeah.
I do think it will, but also now Mr. Petty doesn't want to. Oh, dude, I even forgot. Remember, this is part 2. Remember they were having a back and forth like 2 months ago, and Nikki was supposed to send her husband to fight Stephon Diggs. Also, that's a wild thing. Can you imagine? Here you are, you're a felon, sex offender.
You minding your business, spending your wife's money.
You've cashed out, you're spending your money. Maybe you're still doing your press ups every morning. Then she's like, babe, wake up. You got to go fight an active NFL player. Do you know how strong an NFL player is? Those guys go to work and they know I'm leaving work with brain damage, but I'll do it anyway.
Yeah. All right, let's move on, Phil. Let's move on from these deranged people. Let's head on over to South Africa, Phil. South Africa, this was a hot topic in our Patreon group. And I was accused of just being contrarian when I was asking questions. So I was like, it's okay. I'll ask on the podcast where my tone can be neutral and inquisitive as opposed to aggressive.
You better not ask me what I think you're asking, because certain things are not for public consumption.
No, Phil, things must be for public consumption. Why do we have a podcast? If you don't want to talk, don't have a podcast, man. Anyway, the South African Hey Neighbor Festival announced that they have cancelled the 2025 edition. This was after they had announced that they were going to be having Doja Cat, Leon Thomas, a couple of other huge acts, and people were excited. I think they had done some pre-sales, early bird tickets, and so on and so on. But yeah, according to them, they put out a statement that says that they were canceling to, air quotes, allow adequate time to secure the necessary artist lineup and funding. I think the real word of interest there is the funding word. So yeah, so that was put up in the group, and we were discussing, because we were saying like, what does this mean? What is the implications, etc., etc. And I think, Phil, this is now where you can explain it, because Phil then said, Phil said that this festival should have done better than it's doing. That, I mean, you don't want to expand on that?
I think I spoke about it when I went there for the first edition. Amazing first festival. Granted, there were issues. The only blight I have for that festival was far out of town. And because of lack of traffic control on Saturday, because it was so packed for people who wanted to see Kendrick Lamar, we were in traffic for 6 hours. Granted, it's because we fell asleep. So I went there with Shwade. Shout out to Shwade Media, Jabu. And concert ended at 11. I've been to many a festival and many a concert before. So I was like, it's fine. I'm going to wait. Let's socialize. Let's chill. Let's wait for traffic to die down. Then at midnight, we'll start heading out. Come midnight, traffic's still not moving. We're there. We're stuck in traffic for almost an hour. Barely moved an inch. We're like, screw it. Let's park and sleep. Parked, slept until like 2:30, 3. And there was still traffic until eventually my brain was like, nah, this is ridiculous. I've got to fix something else. So I looked at the map, figured out an alternate route, went round the back, bish, bash, bosh, used the back roads. Got back to Joburg at like 5 a.m. as the sun was coming up. And a lot of people were complaining about that. I was lucky enough to have a car. Some people did not have vehicles. Some people had to catch Ubers because cell towers were overloaded and were so far out of town and there was so much congestion. People couldn't find their Ubers. People couldn't get Ubers. There were many people I saw walking home, whatever. That in itself was the only blight. And I can understand people being upset with it and saying, you know what, I had a terrible experience leaving. I'm never going back. I get that. For me, I was like, nah, worth it. Because the festival was insane. The smallest stage at that festival, Dan, supersedes pretty much all but maybe 3 stages that I've seen in Zimbabwe. The smallest stage. The second stage had 40 screens. It was insane. The main stage was amazing. The activations, there was a Ferris wheel. There was so much happening at that festival. It would literally take me an hour of this podcast to just describe all the amazing things at that festival. It was without a shadow of a doubt the best festival I have ever been to on the African continent. Even so, to me, surpasses Afro Nation. Afro Nation can't even touch this. The only thing that I know of that was comparable to this, and they highlighted it in their press materials, was we're trying to do the African Coachella, and I said they succeeded because it was pretty much the African Coachella. It was amazing. And that being said, when I also look at the value brands got, so Unilever were there. They had incredible installations. Netflix were there. They had a whole stand. There was Heineken. There was Sprite. There was Mnet and MTV. There were so many brands there. I would think they got incredible brand value by being there because of the numbers. So I'm confused that after all this has been delivered, after all this has been achieved, when it now comes to time for them to re-up and get back into it, they seem to be struggling to secure sponsors. They seem to be struggling to secure finances. They still seem to be booking the acts based on their relationships, but they're not getting the money. And that's a question that a lot of people have been asking. Like, why is it this festival, which was so well executed, why are they struggling to get sponsorship? That's strange.
So I'll tell you what I asked in the group and why I asked it. So I then, when we were having this discussion, I then said, are we sure that their struggle is for external reasons, or is there a possibility that there's potential internal issues? And the reason I asked that question is, as you know, Phil, I've worked in advertising for over a decade now, and I deal with a lot of people who have incredible campaigns and have terrible campaigns. And some who have events that are amazing, and some who have events that are not great, but for some reason, there's always another edition. And there's obviously a million things that go into the success of an event. So I'm happy to hear that it was such a good event and that the acts were amazing and the experience was amazing and the performance was amazing. But are we sure that money was handled correctly? Are we sure that the contracts with advertisers were honored correctly so that, it, gives those who have advertised or those who have purchased advertising. Now, I'm not saying that they haven't, because I obviously don't know. I never went. I don't know any other information. I was just asking, are we sure that they did everything right it must be the external who are not supporting them? Or is it possible that there were people who tried to support, but internally, whatever it was, maybe they didn't, maybe they overspent and they've been trying to catch up ever since, or whatever. I don't know, right? So that's what I was asking. And I wasn't trying to disagree with what you were saying. I was just trying to say, are we sure that that's the case? And you seemed pretty sure of it. And yeah, that's what I want to find out.
Yeah, I mean, the information I was given with some of the stuff that happened is from someone who's very intimate with the situation. Someone who's also one of the sponsors.
Okay.
To a certain degree. And they were like, yeah, we looked into it. And also, when you compare and contrast what brands get, those very same brands get at other events versus what they got there, I granted, let me be transparent. I have not seen the contract, so I don't know what the KPIs were. I cannot imagine a world where any brand manager attended that event and was like, this is terrible for our brand. I can't imagine it. Like, I've seen the installations I saw there blew my mind. Dan, I'll bring it back. There was an installation for Lux body wash that blew my mind. Let me repeat that, guys. We're at a music festival, and you see an installation for Lux body wash, and you go in there and you come out and you're like, yo, I'm going back. That was amazing. My mind was absolutely blown. They built a replica of the Sphere in Vegas in a tent in the middle of nowhere. And they were advertising bath soap. And it was amazing.
And you go to a festival with Kendrick Lamar and you're like, I'm going to spend my time in that bath soap tent. Hey, I'm sad to hear this. The way it was phrased and all the news around it seems to indicate that this is a temporary setback. So I'm hoping that we'll have it back next year.
So this is what I can say. As much as they might hope for it to be a temporary setback, the cost, because once again, speaking speculatively, the first year, from what I've been told, was a massive loss, which makes sense because it was a massive investment. And from what I understand, they had bought a lot of the stuff. So if you went there, there was custom furniture in the VIP area. There was custom furniture in the press booth. There was custom furniture in a lot of the spots. And the reason why they did that is because they plan to use it again, which is why you'd even see the look and feel of this year's posters is similar to the last year's posters because they all had that like kids show, like fluffy bugs, you know what I mean, aesthetic. So that furniture cost money. Like, all these assets cost money that needs to be recouped some way, somehow. So, and also, dude, booking 20 major international acts over 3 days, plus a myriad of local acts, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So, the fact that that happened, it makes sense because you're only going to recoup down the line. But it's a lot more difficult for you to recoup when you've lost the trust of the fans, especially at the price point they're at. Because Hey Neighbors tickets were not cheap, right? And rightfully so. But now, if I'm someone who bought tickets and I saw the Doja Cat date get delayed twice and then ultimately canceled.
Now you're asking for refunds. Now you're questioning.
So the next lineup you drop, no matter who you put on the lineup, there's going to be a lot of skepticism. So tickets aren't going to be bought until people are damn sure that the acts that you've booked and the festival dates you've outlined are there. So now you're going to have to basically year 3, well, technically year 4, you're going to have to take another L just to rebuild trust, which means your financial horizons are shot to dirt because now what might have been a 4 or 5 year financial timeline is now maybe stretched out to 8 to 9 years. 9 years of L's with these interest rates in this volatility. That's a lot to ask, bro. Unless brands are coming to save you. And you'll need a big brand to save you.
It's unfortunate. I mean, I wasn't planning on going to see this Doja Cat edition, but I would like to have the option. Let's hope that Hey Neighbor is back with quickness, expeditiously. Sort of sticking around South Africa, but I guess it's more of an Africa and America story. Did you see this whole story with Tiwa Savage and Tyler?
Well, yeah, I couldn't miss it. Could I? You
Let me
play
do
the
a
audio
quick-
there, Dan, or should I?
Yes, I'll play the audio just now. I'm going to do a quick recap for everyone. Now, if you'll recall, we covered this on this podcast. Tyler got into hot soup out in America because, she unapologetically referred to herself as colored, as she is in South Africa. But many Americans took umbrage to that. They felt that the word colored has racial, racist connotations and that it shouldn't really be used. And she was like, yeah, that may be the case in America, but I'm South African. It means something different to me. And was like, oh, no, uppity Africans who don't understand. Aren't you trying to access American audiences? So you must. It was a whole thing, a whole debate, blah, blah, blah. It was a back and forth. Many people still believe, including people like Joe Budden, that because she refused to sort of accept that she must change her lexicon for America, that's why she hasn't really blown up as she could have in America, which I kind of disagree with that. I think she's doing pretty well. But anyway, so that's sort of what happened in the past. This past week, Tiwa Savage was on The Breakfast Club, and she was then asked for some reason. It's actually ridiculous if you think about it. Someone from Nigeria was asked, what do you think about this Tyler situation?
Africa's a country, Dan. I don't know if you heard.
It's ridiculous. But anyway, this is what went down on The Breakfast Club. And this was the question, Tiwa Savage's response.
When the colored conversation was happening with Tyler, from your perspective, how did you feel about the conversation and just how she handled it and people's reaction to it?
I feel like two truths can be real at the same time.
What are you saying, Tiwa?
Like maybe I don't really know what the first thing she said was that sparked the whole conversation. But
So
I
are you
do
answering?
know that from where she's from, she was, I think she doesn't consider, they don't call her black.
They call her colored.
Colored because she's mixed. And I get why that would be such a huge thing here because of, the history behind that name, I don't know. I think I felt for her a little bit because I feel like she's young and I don't think she means to come across like that.
Mm-hmm.
But where I'm from, when something like this happens, like they say the elder will come and say, on behalf of such and such, we apologize. That's what I feel like. If that wasn't communicated, I would like to say, like on behalf of that her or whatever, like we apologize, like
So, okay. What do you think about that, first of all, Phil?
I think so many compounded issues.
So many problems here, but
To
maybe let me start by saying I don't necessarily I don't have like very harsh feelings towards Tiwa for this. But I do think like, okay, you've overstepped a little bit.
Yeah,
Like I kind of ascribe good motives to her, but I think she overstepped.
Yeah. So I think starting with Lauren Rosa, I don't know if she was deliberately inciting or she was just being a typical
American.
ignorant black American who's just like Africa's Africa, so you guys don't need to speak on it. Because a Nigerian wouldn't have the cultural context. It's like me being asked about the issue between the Igbos and the Yorubas. I'd be like, fam, how am I supposed to talk about that? I don't know none. Like, I see stuff on social media, so I know as much as you. Because I'm not there. Like, you and I actually have the same level of understanding on this topic. And I feel like that's all Tiwa Savage had to say. It was like, yo, I'm not South African. I'm not colored. I'm not mixed. I don't know the Guan. Right? So
Honestly, what's wrong with saying, yeah, I saw that. I actually don't know. I'm not South African. I don't really know all the details and the nuances, but I thought that was crazy, yo. That's all.
saying that was crazy, I would say that's too far, because now you're leaving too much room for interpretation and people are going to take it out of context.
To be fair, remember, she's on The Breakfast Club. This is huge for her and American audiences. You can't go on there and be boring. You got to say something. You got to show some kind of personality. You got to have opinions on things. So at least...
No, you don't.
Yes. Like if you go there and you're just like, oh, no, I don't really know. Oh, no, actually, if you're just answering politically correct things only, etc., like you're not going to leave an impression with people. So the thing is, if she said that's crazy, yo, I mean, yes, it could have been open to interpretation and some people may have interpreted it this way or that way, but that's fine. It gets people talking about you, but you're good. You didn't actually say anything about anyone. That's crazy. Could have been the backlash was crazy. Could have been what Tyler said was crazy. This whole story is crazy. The fact that you're asking me is crazy. You are somewhat safe in not having actually insulted anyone, but at least conversation is going on and you've contributed something and you've had some level of. So I'm not so mad at saying, yeah, that's crazy, yo. I mean, I don't know all the details, but the whole blow up around this is crazy. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that, but still, that's a side point. The fact is, I do kind of agree with you that you could have just said, yo, this is not something for me to speak on because how would I know?
So, yeah. And then Tyler clapped back.
I have the audio if you want to hear it. So Tyler was performing at the Global Citizen Festival in New York. Shout out to her. She should have been in Africans doing it big, actually. Highly anticipated performance. And my goodness, you just open X and she's really got a fan base who are posting clips from that performance. But here's a short clip from her performance and see if you can catch her reference to what Tiwa Savage's interview was.
Sorry, I'm not sorry, eh? Hey, come on.
So I'm sure you heard it. Sorry, I'm not sorry, eh? And this is like literally like the next day after this interview. So, you know, it's a pretty straight line from one to the other. I believe, according to the Breakfast Club, Tiwa Savage's management reached out and said we meant no harm and, you know, no ill feeling or whatever. So anyway, I think that's as far as we have in terms of information. But I also thought this was an interesting thing because you know what Tiwa Savage referenced? She was like, you know, in my culture, you know, sometimes we want the elders to come and apologize on behalf of. And I do feel like that's a uniquely African thing, or not uniquely, but it's a thing that happens quite a bit in Africa. That, you know, the elders are there to tsiura the youngster who just got a little bit too happy, so we're here to. Meanwhile, the youngster's like, yo, I didn't do nothing. What do you mean? I didn't say nothing. I didn't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I love being African. I love most aspects of our culture. I love that, you know, we're so family and community oriented. And I love the colorful and, you know, just like the spread of cultures that exist and each individual culture, it's so deep and rich. I love it. But that whole community and family element of that culture sometimes comes with things that I don't like so much, such as the whole, you know, the elders are here to sort things out. Don't worry. It would be different if the youngster said, yo, I'm out of my depth. Can I get your help? Or if the elder spoke to that younger person and said, hey, you seem to be out of your depth. Do you need our help? But, you know, sort of that feeling of, oh yeah, it's just what we do. You know, those who are older are sort of there to try and smooth things over. And I get the motives behind it, but I don't know.
Granted, I can't ascribe Tiwa's intentions or feelings. I don't know what's going on in her head.
Yeah.
But all that to say, I don't understand in any dynamic or any world, even if it was a Nigerian, where you think it's proper for you to speak on someone you don't know, you have no relationship with, things by your own admission, you said that I don't really understand how this issue came about, like what the first salvo was, what triggered it, but my bad, I'm sorry. That's where I'm like, to what end are you doing that? Like, there might be a bit of nobility in like, hey, I think these people are you know, they're being a little harsh or they're being a little cruel to this person.
Mm-hmm.
let me see if I can just like lower the temperature. Fair and fine. But ultimately, like, what are you trying to solve? And I think there's application across the board where sometimes, as you mentioned, Dan, the elders overstep where they're just like, it's fine, we'll fix it. And you're like, but wait, exactly. What are you addressing?
What is it that you're fixing exactly? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Which I find hilarious. But I feel like in as much as this is the best it's ever been for Black people in the world, this is the best it's ever been for Black Americans. It's the best it's ever been for Africans to a certain extent.
Maybe not this year, but in general, yeah.
I also feel like there are teething problems with communication and what I can only describe as psyops. And I keep seeing them more and more frequently. It's like, these guys are not letting up. I don't know if you're seeing it, but Asada Shakur died last week.
Yeah, I saw.
Incredible civil rights leader. She was part of the Black Liberation Army. Famously was sentenced to prison on what she believed was a sham charge. And a lot of people believe was a sham charge. The Black Liberation Army broke into the prison, got her out, and then flew her to Cuba, where she'd been up until she passed away. And this person has this documented evidence from her being in the Black Panther Party to the Black Liberation Army of her doing, like, putting her money where her mouth is, being about that life, being about that liberation for Black people. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of Black TikTokers were coming out and casting aspersions on her. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely a paid campaign. There's no other way. There's no other way. And I also believe a lot of this back and forth is paid campaigns. Like even this Nicki and Cardi thing, I think it's inflamed by bots.
Yeah,
like, I can't imagine what it's like.
The CIA are working hard, Phil.
Not even lots of organizations. The whole alphabet gang, lots of alphabets are working. Because I've been in phases where, like, even now, like I was getting out of a depressive episode where I would wake up and I would check my phone. And I'm not even really active on Twitter like that anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even just the stuff I'd see would affect me mentally. The stuff I would see not even directed at me.
Yeah.
Now, imagine your social media is your bread and butter. Not your main source of revenue, but a source of revenue nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
You check it and you have thousands upon thousands of people saying negative things about you in your mentions, subbing you, and you see it daily. And then people start echoing it. And then now you're paranoid because now you don't know how people really feel about you. And at the same time, you're dealing with a divorce and people that you trusted have now shown themselves to be disloyal. All these things running through your head. Parts of me understand, like, no wonder these people are crazy because this world is crazy. Humans aren't designed for this, bruh.
Yeah. Yeah. I think of it this way as well, right? Prior to 10, 15 years ago, the absolute most famous individual in history at any one time would have had maximum, think about a full arena. Think about Queen performing at Lollapalooza or DMX performing at what's it called? Big performance he had at Woodstock. Exactly. 100,000 people for a brief period of time. That was like such a rare and intense occurrence. Today, regularly, there's tons of people whose thinking, words, thoughts, picture, video, whatever is being seen by millions of people in a short space of time. I know it's not the same in terms of being in person, but we just can't, we're not equipped to handle that much feedback, interest, opinion on us. It's just, we can't. So No wonder things go crazy up at the air quotes social top there. But anyway, yeah, I think Tiwa was wrong. I don't blame her. I don't think she was malicious, but I do think she was wrong in trying to apologize on behalf of someone you haven't even spoken to or you're not even close to like that. I apologize on behalf of, like, what? That's in low key. It's rude, actually. It's low key rude. We haven't spoken, but you're apologizing on behalf of me. What? No ways. But yeah. Anyway, moving on, Phil. Let me switch gears a little bit into our tech ombudsman mindset. Some conversations that we had in our Patreon group, and I think it would be good for us to have them here. This week we saw a couple of things happen. First of all, everyone in tech is talking about the launch of Sora 2. OpenAI's AI video generation, second generation of it, actually, because we spoke about Sora when it first came out. It's available to the public, but only invite only. So they're trying to do a very phased rollout. I'm sure entire swathes of the Amazon rainforest are being burnt as we speak each time a video is generated. And people seem to have, and I don't know if it's just my algorithm, considering Elon hates OpenAI, I don't think he would be promoting it. But yeah, Sora 2 has, like, people are shook because the video generation, it's text to video. You put in a prompt and it generates a video, right? And it's really good. And Sora 2 actually comes with audio now. So you can literally have people speaking or you hear the sound and whatever. And the level of detail is insane. Obviously, it's still prompt-based, so garbage in, garbage out. And if you have a good prompt, you get a good result. A lot of people were showcasing some of what they were doing because they had managed to get the invites into this Sora 2. And even the announcement video that they made, it was all made from Sora. I will say,
show our listeners the video then. Show our listeners the video.
It looked like there was some weird uncanny valley, or maybe that's just what Sam Altman looks like, but it made me feel funny watching it. It just didn't. It just felt weird. You know what I mean? Like, it was technically impressive, I guess, but it just felt weird. Anyway, so yeah, apparently in the Sora app as well, you can scroll through and see these also automatically generated videos. So it's essentially you now have a timeline of AI generated videos that you can be scrolling and checking out. As long as you mark it as available for public. Of course, there's a lot of people praising, just as there's a lot of people who have negative thoughts. There's obviously conversations, as always, when it comes to AI-generated content about copyrights. And obviously, you're using copyrighted material as your basis for generating things. So on day one, you could generate things that you really shouldn't be able to, like Nintendo characters and Disney characters. But some people say that Sam Altman kind of does that on purpose so that the subsequent lawsuits also get media attention.
Yeah.
And then obviously now there's conversations about potential deepfakes, creating videos that are the most viewed video on that Sora feed of AI-generated videos was one that someone made of Sam Altman stealing graphics cards in a computer store. It was obviously meant to be tongue-in-cheek and joking that he clearly needs graphics cards. But a very pertinent comment was, wow, yeah, we've created a software that allows us to create a video of someone committing a crime. This is not going to go wrong at all. Like, that's obviously dangerous. But you can't stop technology. It's going to move forward. And then I'm going to add the last consideration is, what does that mean for original creators? If people like my wife, who, by the way, her TikTok got hacked today.
Already?
Yeah, like legit. She tried to log in and it was like, oh no, wrong email. And it's like, wait, what? And then it's got a different email address, different phone number.
Dang.
So
Did she have two-factor?
I don't know. I asked her and she was like, I can't remember. So I guess it means no. So I was like, immediately turn two-factor on everything else. Then, she used another account to DM, like, did you just steal my account? And apparently some Zim youngster was like, yeah, pay me $60 to get it back. which was a huge mistake because she was then able to hit up the big people at TikTok, and they are investigating. So hopefully she'll get it back. But, original content creators such as my wife who make a living making videos. I'm speaking it into existence, Phil.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
I want to retire. Will audiences prefer AI-generated videos if it's as good as what some of these demo videos we've seen are showcasing? Will audiences prefer to watch skits, jokes, educational content, informational content that is AI-generated? I don't know. I wouldn't, or at least I think I wouldn't. But all of this is it's so dynamic, you just don't know. But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to address one thing. I think you said technology can't be stopped, and I think it can. It not necessarily stopped, but it needs to be regulated. And one thing that even I, as someone who uses AI daily, like I've got multiple workflows, but also it's not AI. It's an LLM and generative models and RAG models. I use those daily for work, but I use them in specific ways. And it's allowed me to reduce my workforce. Like, I think with some of the work that I'm doing, it normally would have taken two highly skilled individuals to execute. I can now kind of do it on my own.
Yeah.
With a bit of help. So technically, someone has kind of lost a job, right?
Yeah.
There's stuff for my presentations, there's stuff for infographics that I normally would have had to stop and spend an hour or maybe more doing in Photoshop or Illustrator. I've now got tools that help me do that in minutes, literally. Or I would have sent it off to my graphic designer, and that would have been billable hours.
Yeah.
So that's a reduction in work. But
yes,
intensive stuff. But the intensive stuff, because even recently, we had to do a whole brand kit for a company. Mm-hmm. The only time we went to AI was just to give them a template for their brand questionnaire. Everything else was straight humans, because there's certain things AI cannot and will not do, especially with these image models. And one of the things that I've noticed that I don't like with most of them is, and we've got an example in the group where someone was even giving us a shout out saying, thanks to the tech ombudsman teaching me about Nano Banana. I had something to do with work. I needed to change something real quick. I remembered you guys had spoken about it. Went to Nano Banana, put in one prompt, image was fixed, bish, bash, bosh. Normally it would have taken a couple of hours. It was done in seconds. On the flip side is, because of how it generates an image, it's random. You can't edit it. And I hate that. So and it might be something as small as, okay, everything about this image is fine, except for that one thing in the corner. I just need to move that element. And you can't, because there's no layers.
Phil, this is why I put in the group, y'all need to start using JSON formats because you then, in that JSON format, you put every single element in there, and then you have this template, and then it generates. And if there's something you need to change, you have the specific container that you would edit, and everything else remains the same, except I'm telling you, it's experiment with it. It'll blow your mind.
I've been using it briefly because I saw one of the guys that I follow speaking about how to use it to. This was actually before Nano Banana came out, and Nano Banana kind of stole a standard. But he was basically like, if you want to replicate a GQ headshot, this is how you do it.
Yeah, and
as you mentioned, created a JSON file element, blah 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 blah. So there's stuff about it that I appreciate, and there's stuff about it that I find frustrating. And when it comes to art, when it comes to creativity, I am apprehensive because I'm a creative myself. But I also understand that sometimes people don't care. And I see myself, how many AI accounts, people know that AI cats or AI babies, the AI babies thing is insane. There's accounts with millions upon millions of followers just repurposing real content and then just putting babies on it to the audio. Yeah. It's insane. So I think people will consume AI slop. the majority of people don't seem to care. I was even seeing the other day and I was very disappointed. There's a creator called Ali Sadiq, a comedian. I don't know if you know of him.
I am familiar.
So he's got a lot of famous clips.
Yeah.
Ali started doing an animated series where like someone would do an animation to one of his stand-up jokes. Until I realized these animated clips are all AI. We've seen it ourselves in the industry. Like artists are now using AI for music videos and stuff. So it's sadly, people are going to move on, but it's going to continue to devalue the art. Because if for me to create a scene or an image, or even like, let's look at that Sora ad, right?
Yeah.
Some of those elements are incredibly impressive. Like we've got a supercar driving through a city and then driving through the desert. And then you've got ducks racing on the water and splashing. And then you've got a stadium full of people. Under normal circumstances in a normal movie, you'd be impressed like, wow, this looks incredible. Like I'm immersed. Because at the back of your mind, you also realize like, yo, logistically, how did they pull this off?
Mm-hmm. Like remember when we watched, do you remember that documentary that was number 1 on Netflix about that kid who killed the girl? And then there was that one long tracking shot that went through a window and everyone was like, yo, how did they do this shot? Adolescence, exactly. Yes, yes.
Yeah, well, yeah. The one that won all the Golden Globes.
Yes.
It was the Emmys.
Emmys, all the Emmys.
So that's impressive, as you said. And that's like, I'm watching it and I'm just like, how did they do this shot? Now, if I'm watching a show and in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, this is all AI, it kind of removes the luster. Like now it's not the logistics of getting the crew there and shooting and managing all this. It's like, how good were your prompting skills?
I mean, I wonder if you used Jason or you just prompted it directly. I mean, you know, that can still also be impressive. Or okay, so you mentioned the comedians thing, right? And it made me think of sometimes when I'm scrolling on TikTok, right? I come across these comedy clips and it's normally like classic comedy clips. Some of them are probably only really available in audio format. Like it will be from specials, or if the video is available, it's like not in great quality. And that you can see that it's just some AI generated, animated cartoon style video, and then attached to it is this audio clip. And I mean, if it's something that I recognize, I'll be like, oh, this is Bill Burr from 2011 or something, and.
I the funny thing is, I know the account you're talking about.
Yeah, and I'll still watch it. And I wonder if it becomes more and more normal. You get what I mean? Like I'm wondering if it becomes more and more normal. It's more like, oh yeah, this is how it always is. It's not. We're now used to it. It's no longer a novelty that this is AI. It's just, oh, of course it's AI. It's all AI. I'm wondering because most of 60% of me thinks, yeah, no, I don't think it will ever take like that. I think that most people won't watch AI content. But 40% of me thinks, you know what? They might. I think they might. So I don't know, man. It's tricky.
Yeah.
Tricky kuraf is what I can say.
I mean, I think also as an adjective that just to change gears a little bit, but people are very excited about what Sora is doing, and rightfully so. But I am very much skeptical about AI, open AI's business model.
Yeah.
With the churn rate, the amount of money they're going to burn through roughly 8 billion by the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Which means if they don't get any additional funding, they're going to be out of cash by this time next year.
What an excellent segue, Phil. Because I'm gonna discuss the next thing that was brought up in our Patreon group, and I saw there was a request. You're like, oh, where can I find answers? Don't worry, right here. But continue, Phil.
Yeah. So there are a lot of people who are not only concerned about the environmental costs that AI is causing, which are very real, and I agree with them completely, but also, why are we spending so much money? We've got an interview with Mark Zuckerberg where he literally said, yeah, if we burn through a couple $100 billion to figure this AI thing out, it'll be worth it. What? And this is insane. Like $100 billion could fix the world's problems.
It's a weird space to be in that we have these ultra mega cash rich companies, right? These tech companies, the Googles and the Facebooks and the Apples, and they are so cash rich because they made so much money in such a short space of time that they are able to throw it at any, like all kinds of things, right? Including this like AI arms race, which ultimately this is what it is. I think this sort of leads to the next thing I was going to talk about, and I may as well get into it now. So someone asked in the group about, I read a headline that apparently Oracle invested $100 billion into OpenAI. Yes, but it's deeper than that. There's three companies that have this weird incestuous love triangle going on. OpenAI, NVIDIA,
especially now, yeah,
and Oracle. So think of it this way, right? OpenAI is allegedly the next big thing, right? It's the whole world, all the companies of the world are in an arms race to figure out what's the next big thing. And everyone's agreed that the next big thing is AI. It's the next big thing since the internet. So NVIDIA has become the most valuable company in the world because they are selling the shovels for the gold rush. NVIDIA is making the GPU cards that are necessary for all this training and the AI tools to actually do what they're doing. So NVIDIA has become extremely valuable. But at the same time, Oracle is a huge cloud provider company. So for all these trillions of terabytes, okay, that's an exaggeration. But for all these large numbers of terabytes to exist,
my petabyte,
they need to be somewhere. So Oracle is like, cool. Here's some space. And there's space and infrastructure for you to do everything you want on the cloud, plus all the massive data centers that you need, plus Oracle is a well-established company with software and data centers and blah blah blah. NVIDIA is providing all the hardware, the GPUs that are necessary for AI training and AI work to happen. And OpenAI is the company that is leading the way at the moment in the AI arms race. So the way that these three have sort of locked themselves in is what makes me think, it's what made me pause to think, because I always thought that, you know what, OpenAI is eventually going to fall away because Google has just too many resources and Microsoft has too many resources. They're going to eventually win, even though OpenAI is in the lead now. But the fact that there's this little ecosystem that they've created where they are sort of investing in each other. NVIDIA has invested $100 billion in OpenAI, which has invested $40 billion in this, which has invested this many. It's just like this weird sort of love triangle that's going on where is there even really any money moving? Not really. It's just like,
and that's the thing, like, and that's the reason why it's still a bubble, because there's no money moving. And this is the only company. NVIDIA has been spending a lot of money, quote unquote, doing investment, which is essentially share swaps in companies that are its biggest customers.
Yeah.
Which is strange because then you realize, essentially what they're doing is they're bolstering their stock price by making it seem like they have diversified their investments, but they really haven't. Because if those companies stop, which they eventually will happen, is if these companies run out of financial runway, their valuation reduces to zero, whatever quote unquote NVIDIA's invested them comes to zero, it's nothing. It's almost the same reason why Microsoft and OpenAI have started to like drift apart. It's because the compute was costing Microsoft too much money. And at the same time, OpenAI was very over leveraged towards Microsoft. So they're both kind of diversified, but there's money moving. But as you said, there's no actual cash moving. It's just like stock shares, stock swaps.
It's a little bit more than that, right? So, for example, NVIDIA is the most valuable company in the world because they're the only ones who are able to make the GPUs that are needed.
On the CUDA, shout out to CUDA. his course.
for now.
Mm.
But Intel might eventually figure themselves out. Who knows? If Intel doesn't, what's that other one? AMD might, or the guys that make Snapdragon. All of these could ostensibly figure all this stuff out. They could. But now that NVIDIA has locked in OpenAI for a multi-year $100 billion deal, even if AMD comes out and they're like, damn, we figured it out. We made better GPUs than NVIDIA's. Oh, sorry, we're locked in for $100 billion. So I can see why NVIDIA have sort of been sweating. They're the most valuable company in the world, but that's only because they're the only ones making the stuff that's needed.
But so you've brought up a critical point, and this is where I feel actual LLM AI use is going to move. That's actually going to be sustainable and actually going to make sense from a business standpoint for all parties involved.
Yeah.
It's local compute. And that's where the problem is. All these companies that rely on cloud compute are kind of stuck because your business model has already proven that you're hemorrhaging money. It's incredibly expensive. You need to build all these data centers. It's an environmental risk. And on the flip side, we've seen a lot of open source models doing really well with local compute. And as that develops, I feel like that's eventually the industry is going to come out and like, okay, guys, what are we doing here? We've got all these incredibly powerful processors. We've got all these incredibly powerful devices, whether laptop, phone, whatever it may be, that can render a lot of stuff. Like even on my iPad, I'm actually, as terrible as Apple AI is, there's sometimes it actually impresses me with just how efficient it is when you do a local compute model. You know what I mean? So like I mentioned to you, for example, how I like record my meetings now, and I use Whisper on device, and it is seamless.
Whisper it's an open AI thing, right?
It's a Llama. You can use different ones, but it's an open platform, but it runs on Llama.
Okay.
So the Facebook open
The
source
Facebook one, yeah. Okay.
And that's really quick, really fast, really useful. There's a lot of things you can run local agentic tasks on it, and it's really good. And for everything else that doesn't necessarily require online, I see that working. And a lot of the things that I believe, this is very anecdotal, that a lot of LLMs are being used for can all be done locally. So like image generation can be done locally. You just download the model, done, and run it locally.
I don't think image generation can. I can see the argument for especially for normal, like someone saying, "Oh, I want a recipe for this or whatever." Yeah. I don't think image generation.
My brain is off. I used to run it on my phone. I forgot I had a local image generator, and it was really good on my phone. It was like a 4 gig model, worked really well. It was pretty decent. I was actually quite impressed with it. So it does work as long as you don't need contemporary stuff. It's pretty decent, and even then you just download a small update and bam, bish bash bosh, you're done. So I think local compute will answer a lot of the use cases for. The only thing you necessarily need for online compute is research. But if you run all of your pre-prompting locally and you're just pinging, your research essentially now uses the same amount of energy as a Google search. So this is where I come back to, I don't understand what's going or what their end game here is, because OpenAI has forced himself into a very narrow corner.
I get what you're saying, and I can see I do kind of agree with the idea of local compute. I'm not sure if the models that will come out from local compute will have some level of usability. But remember, Sam Altman's entire thing is we're on a path to AGI. So his promise, the reason is the company's valued so highly, the reason he's able to get all these founders and partners and whatever is because he's promising that we are about to reach AGI, artificial general intelligence. Soon, we're going to have intelligent artificial general intelligence that thinks on its own, and then from there, growth is exponential once we achieve it. So we just need to throw as much compute power as possible. I forgot the name of that that law that they use that, for
Moore's law.
Yeah, Moore's law, that every several years, the amount of compute power increases, all of that, like their whole idea is we just want to throw as much money and as much computing power and as much everything into this because the moment we hit AGI, it's all going to be worth it. Problem is, if we don't ever hit AGI, the bubble bursts. Problem is, if we do, by some miracle, hit AGI and it's actually not as good as what we thought it would be, bubble bursts. Or we keep on going and we're getting and people realize that, hang on, we're spending a lot of money on something that probably isn't even that valuable, bubble bursts. Or the general public's interest in the idea of it, like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I use it for like my reports at work and stuff, but I'm not going to spend more than $10 a month on it or something. Bubble bursts. So it's this promise of we're throwing as much money as possible to reach this. It's the same with Tesla. Tesla's whole thing is we're going to reach full self-driving soon. We're going to reach full self-driving soon. Then we're going to have robo-taxi and whatever. At some point, either we're going to reach full self-driving and everyone makes their money back, which is unlikely, or it's going to get to a stage of, hang on, guys, we might not ever reach full self-driving. For real, not just the branded full self-driving. Or even if we do reach it, it's still not as useful as we thought it was. The bubble bursts. It's just, I think, a lot more critical with OpenAI and AI in general.
Yeah, and I think to come back to there's something you mentioned there that also speaks to why I'm so shaky about this is you said we'll get to AGI and it won't be as good as we thought. By definition, AGI should be as good because AGI is supposed to have a fixed definition, but it keeps shifting.
Yeah, what I was going to say is there's no real definition for AGI.
Yeah, because essentially AGI just means like things like a human. And there are people right now who are convinced that ChatGPT 4, not even 5, 4, thinks like a human being. Or no, was it 3? I forget. The last model.
4.0, yeah.
Yeah. Are convinced that was damn near close to a human being. And it's because we, as humans, we imbue characteristics onto things.
But also because, just to add, sorry, I know you're continuing with your point, but just to add, it's not like we have an extremely clear definition of what it means to think like a human. Because almost every definition you could use, you could potentially apply it to ChatGPT. So, for example, you experience something, it creates a memory in your mind, and you're able to draw on that memory so that you're able to formulate a new thought. You could almost make a similar case for, yeah, that's what ChatGPT does. So the definitions that exist for what AGI is are just not straightforward. So anyway, sorry, go ahead, Phil.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought there. but ultimately, I don't think it's going to be worth it. I don't think it's worth it for water sources to be polluted the way they are. Like, there's living examples. We see what's going on in Memphis, in America, and the Grok data center that's polluting water there. When it's all said and done, the untold damage that's being done to the planet is insane. And this is also why I hate tech bros. It's like, they come and they're like, hey, we need to go to Mars. And everyone's like, why are we going to Mars? I was like, no, the world's going to end. We have to go to Mars. But Mars isn't inhabitable. No, it's fine. We'll figure out a way to make Mars inhabitable, but we have to go to Mars.
We'll build a plane on the way down.
No, but
why?
Why are we going to Mars? No, because the planet is burning. So anyway, we got to get to Mars. Okay, we don't have the resources to get to Mars. It's fine. I'll make the resources to get to Mars. I'll burn the planet to make the resources to prove my prophecy so that we can go to Mars.
Yeah.
Just, why can't we fix Earth?
Look, ultimately we are cooked, Phil.
Yeah.
We are cooked
we are indeed.
as a human race. Anyway, this has been your Tech Ombudsman segment, and I hope you are as interested in the way the world is moving and where we're going as we are. But let's return to your regularly scheduled programming. There's a couple of very quick stories, Phil, that I want to hear your
takes on. Before you cut off, I think it might be interesting. If you're a listener and you'd like us to actually maybe discuss AI more, maybe we'll do it in the group. But I think it would be fun to discuss like how we actually use like these tools to make ourselves more productive.
Mm.
I've even started a couple of courses, and I wish I actually spent more time learning languages. Like if you know Python, or like working with an LLM, you're a beast. There's so much you can do. Like as you just mentioned, like if you know Python, if you get it in JSON, so that's HTML, C+, all those, but particularly Python and Java, you can really make these LLMs do a lot of amazing stuff. And I don't know if you've been playing with Opal. Have you seen Opal, Dan?
Mm-mm.
So Opal is it's in testing now, but Google are kind of using agentic AI tools. So if you've ever used Make or N8N for creating like multi-step agentic workflows, Google now has a free tool called Opal. So you should check it out. Like it's right now it's very basic, but you can do some interesting things. So maybe we'll do some of that for the Patreons if they're interested.
Yeah, why not? Let's do it. Actually, I do think there's some people that are interested, especially considering the conversation that happened in the group. Maybe Phil, we should do a separate podcast. Do a separate AI based podcast. What do you think? We have the time because clearly we even have the time for this podcast, so we could do it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just quickly a couple of quick stories just to get your quick takes on, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
What is your thoughts on Toki Vibes, who's launching his album this weekend? And allegedly, the story is he's going to be launching a double album, two albums with 30 tracks on each.
I don't know who this. I don't know who this is for. I genuinely don't know who this is for.
It's for his fans, Phil. It's for his fans. They love him, and they can't wait to consume the large number of albums.
How did his last album? Because his last album was 30 tracks. How did that work out?
So listen, he expects to sell double the amount because now it's 60 tracks.
We joke and then we'll see him on the Billboard Hot 100.
Yeah. Anyway, so Toki Vibes album launch, the much touted album launch is happening this weekend. So I saw the number.
It's a busy weekend. Are you going to the launch?
Phil, can you ask serious questions, please?
Okay. Are you going to Jacaranda?
I was just discussing with Taz. Should we go to Jacaranda? And then I was like, oh, I'm a little bit broke at the moment, so maybe not.
Also, as the head of a station, why are you still paying for tickets?
Phil, you know why in this particular case.
Yeah, because it's even affected me.
In this specific case, you know why. Why do you have to ask? Raise issues that shouldn't be raised. Also, to be fair, I could have. I just didn't want to get anyone in a tough space. So I was just like, no, it's cool. If I go, I'll just buy the tickets. But first of all, I had to take my MacBook in for repair, Phil, as you are aware. And some of those in the podcast may have heard in the last couple of episodes, and they've given me the quote. And then, yeah, there's been some other purchases that have also been happening recently. So,
Nancy, iPhone 17.
Yeah, moving forward. I also want to do a swap and top on some other tech. But anyway. Okay, another quick story for your take, Phil. We got news this week that the next headliner for the Super Bowl halftime show is none other than...
The Naughty Rabbit.
Bad Bunny. I was about to make a similar joke to yours. You see, Phil, that's the problem. We're supposed to be different. This podcast will only thrive when we are contrarian. What do you think, Phil?
I find it hilarious. I think it's brilliant. Well, from a business standpoint, Bad Bunny literally had the biggest year. I think I kind of discussed it in brief on the podcast. I can't remember if I did, but I was reading up on what he was doing with his residency. My man brought in damn near $750 million, I believe. Was it $250 million to Puerto Rico with his month-long residency.
Oh, snap.
And he's been putting up incredible numbers. And also, he hired anthropologists to help write the scripts for the music videos and the lyric videos for his last album. And throughout, it's got a message about like Puerto Rican pride, their history, how they've suffered under colonialism. Very woke, very conscious stuff. I was like, this is this stuff I can get behind. I don't know what you're saying, my brother, but I dig what you're doing here. And on top of that, he had announced that he wasn't going to be performing in the US for his tour because he's about to go on a world tour. And I actually misunderstood the quote a little bit, but essentially he was saying, I don't think it's safe for my fans because I know a lot of my fans are probably going to be Hispanic people. Some may be undocumented, but just by the sheer number of Hispanic people that will be attending the shows, I feel ICE might start targeting my concerts and round up people, so I don't want to put them at risk. So I found it funny that some people were bringing or taking him to task for this because they're not going to be ICE agents outside the Super Bowl. Well, we say things with such certainty, but we've been hit for surprise lately, so I doubt that will be happening. But I think it's great.
I saw this conversation in the Patreon group, and I was like, I need to confirm before I say something. I need to confirm. I don't think he was outrightly protesting. Maybe he was, but wasn't it more along the lines of him saying, if I throw a show, I expect a lot of Hispanic people to attend, and that means ICE can come there. So I'm not going to just give them.
Dan, I literally just said this. Yeah. I see your mind drifted.
This is why I'm agreeing with you. So I was saying that as separate to, he's protesting ICE, so he's not going to do any shows in America, and then now he's doing a show in America. I was like, no, those are two different things.
Yeah.
So
I think it's dope, and I really, I can't wait. I've made sure I've signed up to all the white old music commentators because last year after Kendrick's show, they were pissed. We can't even hear what he's saying. What is all this? The Super Bowl show used to matter. So now they've gone back to back. Last year you couldn't hear what he was saying. Now you're not going to understand what Bad Bunny's saying. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. But first and foremost, we've got to, Dan, you and I was trying to speak about it, but people aren't paying attention. Justice for Too Short, bruh. We need justice for Too Short. We need justice for E40. The Super Bowl is in their backyard. They're not even on the lineup. This is disrespect, man. How can they deny these people their flowers?
What's their hometown?
San Francisco, where the Super Bowl is.
For real, though. Okay, quick take. Kai Cenat has become the first Twitch streamer to hit 1 million subscribers. He had a big countdown to it on his month-long Mafiathon 3 streaming event, which I guess is 24 hours streaming for a month, which sounds insane to me, including when he's sleeping.
And he cut his dreads. Well, LeBron cut his dreads. I don't know if you saw that part.
I did see a clip of that. What made me pay the most attention is when he had Linkin Park perform in his bedroom.
I actually missed that. Like, there was so much happening. I missed that. But by the way, have you been following the Linkin Park story recently?
About the new front woman?
Yeah, and then how like they're all Scientologists now and there's some weird stuff happening.
No, I didn't see that part.
Look into that, Don. Look into that. It's crazy.
I don't want to ruin my childhood, man. I'm gonna leave that alone. I even tried listening to the new album and I was like, you know what? She's not bad, but she's not Chester. So, let me just listen to my old faves, listen to Hybrid Theory. I'm gonna listen to Meteora. I'll listen to a little bit of Minutes to Midnight, but it was getting a little bit too pop for me by then. And I'll just stay happy. And I saw them perform on Kai Cenat's stream. I was like, what? There was like a clip of it. I was like, damn, I hadn't listened to these guys in a while. And then I was listening back and I was reminiscing.
Kai Cenat doesn't know Wale. And I forget which other rapper he forgot. But he knows Linkin Park?
I don't know if he knows them, but they performed on his stream. I don't know if he knows them. But so I've said it before on this podcast. I get some elements of it, but overall, streaming culture is so crazy to me. You mean people are spending entire days on a live stream watching someone sleep, wake up, eat, talk to people, have fun, crack jokes, whatever.
We're literally living in the Truman Show, and people it's weird how we are literally living in the dystopian future we used to read about.
Also, 1 million subscribers. Not to mention regular gift. That man is... how much is Kaisa net worth, actually?
So, yeah, and also just to highlight on Twitch, right? You have a follower.
Yeah.
Which is someone who, when you start a live stream, they're notified that, hey, Dan and Phil have gone live. Do you want to watch? A subscriber is someone that pays. What is Sky's opening things? $5? What is it?
I don't know. According to this, no. So you can be a subscriber that... I don't know. I may be confused here. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, I just quickly Googled, and these things are often very popular on the internet. What is Ningi's net worth? And they're probably not very
accurate. I came across one AI one about Zim, and I couldn't stop laughing.
This one says Kaisenat's net worth is 35 million, which is crazy because his entire business model is begging y'all for money. Y'all donating chat. Donate.
Don't forget to donate to our Patreon, guys. 2 Broke
35 million. If I was worth 35 million, I wouldn't be asking y'all to donate. Okay, I might still, actually, to be honest. Anyway, oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, I was about to say let's wrap it up, but there's a story I need to tell you, Phil, and I found it fascinating. So I told you I've been watching Peacemaker. So I started from watching season 1 again, just to remind myself of what it was. And I'm glad I did, because I was like, damn, I forgot about all this. This is a great show. So I finished season 1. I'm now on season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2 is currently ongoing. In fact, this week they're releasing episode 7. I'm still on episode 2. Now I'm going to try my best not to spoil, because unfortunately this was partly spoiled for me and I don't want to spoil for anyone else. As part of the promo run for this new season of Peacemaker, something popular that's been happening is emotes that go across on Fortnite. So there was a Peacemaker emote that was put on Fortnite. It's called the Peaceful Hips emote, and it's basically, oh man, there's some more context. One of the most popular things about season 1 of Peacemaker was the theme song.
Mm-hmm.
The theme song was accompanied by what can only be described as some kind of interpretive dance choreography. When you first see it, it looks so weird because it's a bunch of A-list actors with serious looks on their faces, and they're doing this weird interpretive dance choreography. And it's all to the tune of this rock song that has really gotten stuck in my head. Do you really want to taste this? Great. It became like a cult fave of the show. So every time they were doing public appearances, people kept expecting them to do like that dance. And they were able to do it because apparently, they had to do like so many. It was very specific, and they had to do so many like rehearsals and whatever to get it right. So when people found out just how specific it wasn't just a random choreography. They started trying to see, is there some elements of the dance that translates into the plot? And it turns out there is, and you'll only really recognize it when you see it happen in the show. So I think at this point it's like 3 years ago, so it's not spoiling. So the big plot of season 1 involves butterflies. So in the interpretive dance, there's several things that seem butterfly-ish. And then you can sort of tell where they affect depending on how people in this dance choreography are going, So it's like a whole thing. People are able to sort of analyze this dance choreography, and it's part of the plot. Season 2 has a new dance choreography. So again, people are excited to see, okay, what is this? As each episode comes out, they're like, okay, that's what that part of the dance done by that person means, et cetera, right? The very first move in the dance choreography is this Peaceful Hips sort of emote that was put on Fortnite. Fortnite announced this week that they had disabled this emote, which had been in there for a couple of weeks already. And they announced that they were investigating. And that was because people started speculating, wait, as more and more of the plot was becoming revealed, they were like, is this a Nazi reference? So it's still in speculation. It's not confirmed, but it's speculation that we think that this is a reference to Nazis. So now everyone is like, wait, did James Gunn and Warner Bros. And whatever, did they just sneak in a Nazi reference into Fortnite? Fortnite is also like famously very well, actually, that's not true because people started revealing how can they be so pissed about this Nazi situation, but meanwhile they've allowed this and that and that and that. But anyway, they made a whole, you tricked us and you put in a reference that we're not happy with. I thought this was such an insane story because how is this a big deal? It's an interpretive dance that could be interpreted one way or another, but it's not a direct reference to anything. Relax. But here's a company panicking because they think that there might be a reference to something that might mean something. I thought it was hilarious that they took it down. So now, obviously, most people probably wouldn't even have known about it. But this has made it go viral, and everyone is now trying to see what is this dance that was removed. People who don't even play Fortnite are searching for this dance. Like, okay, what does it mean? Oh, you're saying this? Damn, Epic Games did this? When you could have just chilled, bro. You could have just chilled. That made me, I want to link this. It's a very tenuous link, but I'll link it nonetheless. White people business. And it's actually our Gemini assistant that decided that this should go into white people business. Did you see this trending press conference by Jennifer Lawrence where she was asked about Gaza and Palestine? And she said... Mm-hmm.
No, Karen, I only saw like a passing headline. I haven't had a chance to dig into it.
She had a pretty good statement about how, what's happening in Palestine is a genocide, unacceptable, et cetera, right? So the problem is she's been on record in the past of being on the other side, shall we say. So many people were upset with her that you can't just sit there and now say, yes, it's a genocide. Meanwhile, in 2022, at this interview, you said this, and then you posted the Israeli flag and you said free the hostages in November of 2024. And then other people are saying, but shouldn't we be celebrating or be happy that she's changed her mind, that she's now seen this? And people be like, nah, she's just doing it because, now that's what the public is viewing as generally the right, sort of perception to have and da-da-da. So I wanted to bring this up. And the reason I'm connecting the two is the idea of reaction to what people would consider is, publicly acceptable, unacceptable. But
okay, so just give me a little bit more context about this press conference. So what did she say exactly and what tone did she use?
It's a press conference about a movie. It was at a film festival, completely separate. The reporter asked a point-blank question about Palestine. I think a lot of people expected, oh, snap, here we go. And then she said, it was a good response. I could search for it here, but I think it's also a little bit long. She literally said, what's happening in Palestine is no less than a genocide and it's unacceptable. She didn't have any questionable tone. She didn't have any shady, or at least not to my knowledge.
So previously, what did she say?
Previously, she had been in several spaces. I don't have the exact. Let me just quickly Google here. I think she said something about free the hostages, and I think she said she had some pro-Israeli or pro-Zionist sentiments that she had previously said publicly. So people were sort of showcasing, oh, this you. So it's led to this debate of, isn't our goal to try and get people to change their minds? Why are we punishing someone for doing that? Why do we have so much smoke for someone who has this? Hold on, let me just quietly see if I can find it.
But I think if I'm to read it as you're explaining it, it seems like there's no accountability to, hey, I was misinformed, I was wrong, I was on the wrong side of this, my bad. But, I've come around. And I think that's literally just two sentences. I was on the wrong side. I misunderstood. I was wrong. My bad. Anyway, this is where I'm at now.
Okay, fair enough. But that's not what she was asked. She was not asked in the past, you've said this or whatever, right? She was asked another question. Just like, do you view this as a genocide? And she said, yes, I do. Now,
but she's been famous for long enough to realize.
Hear me out. I do agree with you that it would have been better to say this and to acknowledge a certain level of accountability that, I might have been misled or I didn't have all the facts or whatever the case is. That would have been better. But why do we have so much smoke for her for not saying those 2 lines? That's what the ultimate thing is. Yes, I agree. It's better if you had said those 2 lines, but you didn't.
Because it matters. It matters a great deal.
That's what I want to hear.
It matters a great deal, and I didn't even think I was going to discuss it, but I've been watching, I don't know if you watched the Ta-Nehisi Coates and Ezra Klein interview.
I have not.
But I'll come back to that later. But it matters a great deal for the simple reason that a lot of people are whitewashing their stances with no accountability. So,
what is accountability? What do you mean by that? What is accountability?
In this instance, it's I can't speak to it, but there's a spectrum, right? And on one end of the spectrum is people who are nefarious, who are acting in interest of Zionists, who are being paid by Zionists, who are supported by Zionists, who benefit from the Zionist state. And
that's the whole of Hollywood.
No, but hold on. The people that had blinders on that were like, yo, I know this is happening. I don't care. Oh, I'm giving these blanket statements. Yeah, free the hostages, bish, bash, bosh, whatever. And then you've got other people who maybe fell into in the middle of the spectrum, who fell into the trap of, this is a complicated issue. We've got to hear both sides. I don't fully understand it. And because it's a complicated issue and they don't have the time or they feel they don't have the intellect to understand it, they're just like, it's beyond me. And then on the other end, you've got people that have been at the forefront of this and saying, guys, this is bad. People are dying. This is evil. This is colonialism. Let's address this. You can't go from one end to the other. I feel if you've, like, as you said, if people genuinely feel, and if evidence to prove it, that you were acting in concert with or damn near part of the Zionist movement, you can't then switch sides without explaining why.
So let me give some context.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
So like in the press conference, you don't necessarily have to address it because you're a human being. Like it might have been oversight. But if you now see the backlash and you're like, the backlash, and you're like, oh, okay, people are catching whiplash or they need context, there's an opportunity for you to provide the context and just say, hey guys, bringing up this old stuff is the old stuff. You know what I mean? I've changed I'm allowed to change. I'm a human being. I've understand more. I learn more. I've now got a different understanding. And that's that.
So, okay. There's a famous statement. What's understood ain't got to be said. I don't think anyone has to say, I'm a human being, I'm allowed to change, because everyone is a human being and they're allowed to change. You don't have to say that. But context. I couldn't remember the specific things that they were mentioning that she had said in terms of changing. Quickly searching online, it seems like the major thing was her sharing a stage with Amy Schumer, who's very openly Zionist. And she said something along the lines of, what did she say? Jennifer Lawrence says, Amy Schumer's choice to use her voice to speak for justice puts her under immense fire. I wouldn't say she navigates it so much as she throws her middle fingers up and walks away from negative comments like a gas station fire in a Michael Bay movie. Okay, so it looks like she said something somewhat in defense of Amy Schumer. So, it looks like from her perspective, she was somewhat in the camp of, yeah, Amy Schumer, she's trying to fight for justice. Now, here's my problem. There seems to be an expectation or a belief that everyone must be right all the time. And if you're not right, you better damn near apologize to us. I completely disagree with that mindset. I think this is a thing to celebrate. That here's someone who maybe previously was on the fence or didn't fully know the story or didn't pay that much attention or may have said some things in one direction or another. Again, completely different if she had some overt actions. Then we are talking about accountability. Yeah, that's why I was asking earlier, like, what do you mean by accountability? For me, accountability is you have caused harm, and I don't mean indirectly. I don't think, it's a very broad term, I guess. But if you've caused harm, accountability means you need to own up and pay for what you've done. But I never really spoke up about it before, but I'm going to say something now. What do you mean? What accountability? What? That's a win. Shout out to you for seeing the light. Thanks for coming this side. That's a win. Why are we attacking, or why do we have so much smoke for someone who's literally said, hey, I agree? Now, motives, which we can never know for sure, might be questioned. Yeah.
You're saying this, and funny enough, like you kind of okay. Let me not say that, but let me put it this way: if your child just got bombed, and your husband got bombed, and your son got bombed, and you are an amputee, why should I celebrate Jennifer Lawrence seeing the lights 60 years after the first Nakba?
So this was kind of my next point. We are by far the majority of people who are having discourse about this are spectators. Shout out to those who are actively involved in terms of trying to help in some way or other, but most of us are spectators and commentators, right? So we are speaking from a place far removed from where the atrocities are happening. They are sad, but we are commenting. That's what all of us are doing here. We're commenting. So I'm not talking about what a Palestinian would think. I don't think a Palestinian gives two hoots about what Jennifer Lawrence thinks. I'm talking about the rest of us here who are commentating as we watch this happen, and we're like, how's the world allowing this to happen? Damn, why are y'all supporting that side? Can't you see how messed up it is? Oh, I'm glad you've seen the light. It feels like we punish someone for getting new information because you didn't apologize the correct way or didn't come correct because you're supposed to say this first and then say that next. Okay. Isn't it a win to celebrate that here's someone who sees something good?
So I think here is where I'm struggling to find the middle ground with what you're saying is you're basing this off a conversation with people that aren't in this room. Well, in this conversation, right? And I think we've both agreed that dialogue and discourse online is horrible. It doesn't reflect reality. It's a mess. It's an absolute dumpster fire. So I think it's a good starting point just to say, hey guys, like there may be something to discuss here. But rooting the basis of that conversation in those extreme responses is not beneficial because it doesn't reflect the reality on the ground, right? I think humans are humans. And to be human is to also understand that people are fallible, people make mistakes, people have blind spots, people have, as you said, the whole of Hollywood, financial interests. Like some people probably in their quiet moments would see or know or read and be like, yo, what's going on in the Middle East is messed up. I feel for those people. I'm sorry, my bad. But I report to like 7 Zionists and I need this money.
Mm.
So I'm sorry. And you have to take that you have to take that sacrifice. And I get it. As sad and deplorable that is, sadly, that's the world. We all have to make these compromises and deal with people that we don't want to deal with. And some of them may be incredibly deplorable. And your line is your line. You know what I mean? And I get that part. All I am saying is, if you're now positioning yourself as, yo, I'm about it, there are people who are going to be skeptical and be like, okay, you're now part of the movement. Cool. Why did it take you so long? What did you say before you got here? Because let's not also be naive and not make it seem like there are people who are conveniently, and I'm not going to mention names, but I've been seeing a lot of it recently, who are conveniently changing their tone in the situation because they're seeing the conversation shift. The conversation
public sentiment generally.
Yeah. Has now shifted. And it's weird. Like, granted, I can bring this up. It's fine. You saw 2 weeks ago, while Israel was bombing Qatar, Keir Starmer drops a statement condemning Israel. At the same time, Keir Starmer has sent an airplane to refuel the jets that are bombing Qatar.
Why are you saying it like that?
It's
bothering me, man. Anyway,
Qatar. That's
okay.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, I wasn't talking about. I know that there's extremists online. I wasn't talking about extremists. I was talking about general sentiment. It felt to me the general sentiment in response to Jennifer Lawrence's statements. Again, these are minute, and I'm more interested rather in trends and overall what it sort of showcases rather than what Jennifer specifically said and so on. I don't care about Jennifer Lawrence. But the general sentiment seemed...
You don't care about Katniss?
To be, stay over there. And I was like, yo, why wouldn't it be, yo, finally you've seen the light, it took you a while. And it feels like people want, before you see the light, you must first grovel and you must first admit just how wrong you were. Yeah, good. And if you think about how would that translate to someone who needs to see the light? Second of all, again, I do think it's important to sort of recognize that we are not activists. We are not the movement. There are people who are doing that. Most of us are merely observers and commentators.
I think also that is incorrect though. So there are many scholars who bring it, but okay, let me attack it first and foremost. I don't know if you keep bringing this back because you're trying to make a good point, which I understand, or you genuinely think I personally have had to realize I can't hold online comments with weight, because as easily as it may be someone who's genuinely infuriated, it could also just be,
a troll,
a farm of bots.
Yeah. Engagement baiting, trolling. But again, that's what I'm saying. I'm not looking at extremes. I'm not talking, and Phil, come on, man. We've been doing this podcast. I'm not talking about extremists. I'm talking about general
I can look
sentiment.
at that. Yeah. But also, a movement has many parts. A movement has many soldiers. And some of those soldiers can literally be observers. There is power in that. There is power in reposting. There is power in taking the time to educate people. There is power in even liking a video. In as much as we say we're observers, those signals elevate and amplify messages, which can change people's minds, which can educate people, which has a knock-on effect. And we've seen the result of it. We were talking about this 2 years ago, Dan. And even we were like, you know what? We're nervous about saying it, but I was like, I can't keep quiet about this. I've lived through this, right? And when I was younger, I was very uneducated. And I took the time to educate myself. And I was like, as the more I educated myself, I was like, yo, this sounds very familiar. As someone who I was lucky enough never to grow up in a colonized Zimbabwe, but who had family who grew up in a colonized Zimbabwe, the stories that they told me sounded very familiar to what was going on here. And we haven't even seen a lot of the atrocities that these people have been subjected to. So I think there is value in even being an observer and speaking out, even being an observer and making a decision that, hey, I'm going to involve myself in BDS and not buy from this company because this company is supporting a genocide. There's power in that. Yes, you're not on the front lines. You're not having to duck mortar shells every day. You're not having to duck bullets. Yes. But there's still, because all these small things play a part in the bigger mission. So I don't want to diminish it, right? We all can't be Greta Thunberg and risking our lives on the flotilla, which is another wild story in itself. Like, guys, if you look into what's happening with the flotilla in Gaza, it's wild.
All right, Phil, we have to wrap it up. The thing is almost closing up. But yeah. Again, don't think that I'm saying that observers don't matter. What I'm trying to say is that obviously the stakes are different.
Yes, you are saying observers don't matter. You are an MDC member. Exactly. Triple C.
The stakes are clearly so different for those who are obviously in Gaza or have people or family in Gaza. The stakes are also different for those who are on front lines and protesting and activists. And the stakes are different for someone who's just talking online. Not to say that no one matters or one matters than the other, but the stakes are different. And that's why I say consider that even for a person who's ignorant, expecting everyone must be humble first and apologize first before we accept you is not going to help anyone's cause. I think from my perspective, you've finally seen the light, welcome, is a more appropriate response than, but why were you saying that the other time? And again, on the issue of, there's some people who now seem to be switching. I get it. Yeah, there can be conversations about, are you really switching for real? But I mean, why not simply accept people coming to see the light? Anyway, maybe this is something worth further debate. And I would love to hear what our listeners think about Jennifer Lawrence is just an avatar for the overall discussion about the idea of people learning new information and changing their minds. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts, but we have to wrap it up, Phil. We literally have 2 minutes.
Before what?
Before this recording stops.
Oh, wow.
I've been watching it
guys.
count down this whole
All
time.
right, guys. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on social media, Twimbos. Yeah, we need to get back to posting more. I am obviously King Kandoro. I'm here with Dan, the guy from Power FM.
Yep.
How are things there, Power FM, Dan?
Yeah, no, going well. You know, me and my fellow workers are doing our thing, and it's powerful.
That's great. So don't forget to support us. Dan, I don't know if you saw, there's someone who wants to join the football. I sent them your details.
Thank you. I received the details and the monies. Guys,
Yes.
this weekend, I know I had said end of September, but we'll close it this weekend. I'm going to compile a list of everyone. So that gives you a day or two to send in your monies, and So and then I'll announce every as well. But yeah, those of you who want to play money game here, FPL is hotting up. It's firing. Please just send us a DM, and we'll let you know. It's $50 buy-in. All the money goes to a pot. The winner takes 50%. Number 2 takes 30%. Number 3 takes 20%. Last I checked, I was leading, but I know after the last set of games, I'm not anymore. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for listening. TwoBrokeTours.com/donate is how you can show support for this podcast. You can sign up to be a Patreon member. We have great conversations in the Patreon group. In fact, a lot of our conversations here originate in the Patreon group, and they will continue in the Patreon group afterwards. But we don't spam, and that's what I like about it. There's also subsections there, like the sports discussion, where there's sports ball discussions in there. There's also the book club as well. And I think maybe we should create a new one for AI, Phil, don't you think?
Yes, it's a lot.
Yeah, plenty of them. Anyone can choose where they want to go. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so if you want to be a Patreon subscriber, please, twobroketumbos.com/donate. Minimum of $5 a month gets you in. Otherwise, you can also do once-off donations, and we'll throw you in for some time also, so you can enjoy the fun in there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of Great Discussions. I think we had a solid episode this time around. We appreciate your support, and we'll catch you in the next one. We out.
We out.
Whoa!